Senator, ACA, its very basis is, the nature of the organization is based on private-public collaboration. Is it working? What are your challenges?
Well, I think it's working, or actually I should say I know it's working. I think ACA represents an example in state government where there is a true collaborative effort with the private sector, the legislature, the governor, as well as academia. When you look at the way the organization was assembled in order to, as Doug talked about, a unifying goal. The unifying goal for the ECA is really about strengthening the state's economy through quality job creation. So it is clearly an area in which all of those groups are interested. And they have all come together to lend their leadership, their support. In the case of the legislature and the governor, clearly our budget comes from the public sector. However, we have a private sector governance model. And the ACA and the established team at ACA gets a ton of support all around the state. It has just been amazing, Senator, that outpouring of support from the community. When you talk about advancing the state's economy after 300,000 jobs were lost due to the Great Recession, it really became that unifying and rallying point. And so we are just blessed to have an organization with just an incredible board. I've got a couple of board members here. And having the governor chair this board and having the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate on the board, private sector leadership, 3 university presidents, it really, I think, is a great example of collaboration.
That's a tall order, though, and it's something that, it's a group that we've never had like this before. So what are some of the challenges that you've encountered over the past year? You've been involved with it for, as COO before you became CEO. What are some of the advantages maybe that your predecessor discovered or that you're discovering now?
Right. Well, when you move from a purely public entity, of which I was employed for 16 years, so I came from an organization that was purely public. For about 10 of those 16 years, the entire organization battled for its funding, battled for resources to accomplish the mission that was identified by the legislature. So when you move that structure, which quite honestly, I loved the years that I worked at the department, but I am thrilled that we no longer have the Department of Commerce. It really truly was an entity that was flawed in sort of its construct. The way it was developed, and it's solely focused on that public sector mission, just didn't work well. So as we transitioned, so we shut down that organization. So the challenges were moving into sort of this public-private domain that ultimately, from a private sector standpoint, I think the private sector really strongly believes, and I'm sure you heard from Clayton and others talk about how you can make those decisions very quickly, you can move and advance the ball. In a public-private partnership, when you get most of your dollars from the public sector, while we have this incredible private sector governance model, we still have a lot of policies, procedures, things that we have to follow. So the first year, I think there was this great expectation that we got this organization up and running, July 1 hits, very first year, and bang, we're going to start producing results. And so that was a bit of a challenge, is really trying to manage the expectations so that ultimately we created the right foundation, a solid foundation, which took us a year going from a public entity into this private public. So some of the challenges were just the expectations on the organization. We believe, based on the year that we took to really transition, I mean, there was, and this is a candid conversation, so many of you know, we were getting a lot of hits and attention in the media, and so we went, as an organization, sort of went through that process, trying to make sure that we stay the course. That you can get distracted in this business very, very easily. And we have a very focused mission, and our mission is 75,000 jobs, and it's a really aggressive mission. And so some of our challenges were just don't get distracted.
Clay, I'm curious to get into the for the private side. You know, I've watched Infusionsoft for a lot of years. You guys are amazingly successful. And I know that you've made collaboration a part of the culture inside your company. How did you do that? And again, how did that work? Challenges that you overcame? Because you obviously have overcome a lot of them.
Well, let me first say that after listening to politicians talk about collaboration, I think I'm really happy that it's a lot easier in the private sector, I'll tell you that. So I'm really happy about the challenge we have in collaboration relative to the big challenge that's been talked about here. But I think the key, and both Doug and Sandra talked about, is a unified purpose. And you know, it's awesome to see the Arizona Commerce Authority have a unified mission around 75,000 jobs, because people can get around that, and the collaboration doesn't start until you've got some foundational shared purpose. And so in business, you know, I think the challenge for the leader is to get very, very clear about what the purpose is, what the mission is, because yes, we can all rally around a profit, but I found that can only get you so far. The dollars can only do so much to motivate people, to help people get over the issues that they have that might cause them to not come to the table and be collaborative with their peers across departments, whatever the case may be. What's powerful is getting clear about the purpose that you're up to as an organization. Why do we even exist? Why have we chosen to do this every day of our lives instead of doing one of 1,000 other things that we could be doing? And when the leadership of a company gets very clear about what the purpose is, and then makes even more clear the mission over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever the appropriate time frame is, then it becomes very galvanizing for everybody in the organization to get behind that. And so that's something I just love to do. I love to get clear on that, because I feel like when that part gets very obvious to everybody, then amazing, miraculous things happen in terms of collaboration and innovation. But until you get clear on that purpose, and it's amazing how many entrepreneurs and business owners just kind of do their thing and it's inside of them, but they don't articulate it and get it clear outside for everybody else. And as a result, it's very difficult to get the kinds of collaboration and innovation that they're after.